So I've owned my Tesla Model 3 for the last 2 years now, and I think it's time to start looking at other vehicles due to the climate of Tesla as of recent. So Cadillac sent me their brand new Cadillac OPTIQ Sport 2. So we're gonna check it out and see how good it is. Coming up to the front of the Cadillac OPTIQ, we have a really nice LED lit badge as well as a surrounding grille and 2 DRL markers on each side, which I will say makes this car look really nice and sleek, especially at nighttime. Like, this thing looks so much better than any Tesla on the market. Now, while we're at the front of the Cadillac OPTIQ, let's check out what's underneath the hood and see if maybe Cadillac has graced us with a frunk. I highly doubt it, but let's see. And it does not look like there's a frunk in there. We have a lot of electrical components, as you can see, but no frunk storage at all, which means if you want to store anything special, it has to all be in the trunk. Speaking of storage space, let's go ahead and see how much we have in the back of the Cadillac OPTIQ. Now, I wouldn't expect too much considering this is more of a smaller mid-size SUV, but back here we've got a pretty decent amount of space. We've got 26 cubic feet of space with the seats folded up and 57 with the seats folded down. Not really too bad, but I will say if you're used to something like a Cadillac Lyriq or anything bigger, then you're definitely gonna want something bigger in that class because this thing's just not it. And I guess while we're back here, let's talk about the sub-trunk or lack thereof, because there's literally no room back here. You have enough for a charging holder, and that's about it. And while we're on the outside of the Cadillac OPTIQ, let's talk about this amazing looking color option. It's called Argent Silver Metallic, and it looks stunning, especially with this Onyx package down here, which actually ends up giving us these really nice 21-inch black alloy wheels, which I will say looks amazing with this colorway, especially if you add the black roof, which I want to say is an extra $700, but totally worth it for this car. Especially if you want to make this thing look as unique as possible, which I assume you would want your car to look a little unique, especially in a world full of Tesla Model Ys and such, but that's just my opinion. And just a quick side note, these rear taillights in the back of the Cadillac OPTIQ look amazing. It really just adds that right amount of depth to the back of the car that this thing really needs. Might I say, the back of this car looks better than the refreshed Tesla Model Y that came out a few months ago. Gonna get a lot of hate for that in the comments, but just putting my personal opinion out there, it looks fantastic. Another little side note is this charge port door. It looks and feels so much better than the Cadillac Lyriq's charge port door. I don't know if you remember that, but it felt a lot more loose and janky than the Cadillac OPTIQ. So big improvement on that Cadillac. Now that we're done with the exterior of the Cadillac OPTIQ, let's talk about the interior. Now, I will say there are some aspects of this interior that are a little off in my opinion. I'm not really a big fan of how their styling looks entirely, but it's not the worst. And I will say if you're into the more modern luxury aesthetic, it will definitely fit right down your alley. But if you're not, then you might not like this part. So keep that in mind while you watch this segment of the video. Now, stepping into the front seat of the Cadillac OPTIQ, it is very, very nice up here. I mean, the headliner is still that kind of famous rough headliner from GM that I'm not the biggest fan of, but other than that, it's really not too bad in here. Now, on the top part of every single door panel on the inside of the OPTIQ, you're greeted with this like textile material on every single door. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but at least it's not hard plastic, so I will give them that. And as you can see, that kind of textile material follows you throughout the entire center console, and then it's kind of like embossed in a weird plastic on this top part, which I will say does look kind of nice. Now, while we're on the center console, you can see we have our signature Cadillac dial to help control the infotainment system, as well as menu buttons to control the dashboard, so you can kind of get to your quick access functions very, very quickly. And then up here, you have your metal feeling scroll wheel to play, pause, or bring your volume up or down. Now, one thing I will point out with every single Cadillac OPTIQ is that every OPTIQ comes optioned for free with Cadillac Super Cruise, which I will say is super, super convenient, especially during long road trips. If you don't know what Super Cruise is, it's basically just a hands-free alternative on pre-mapped highways and freeways, so that way you can drive hands-free. Now, while we're on the topic of creature comforts, let's talk about other amenities like the massage seats. Yes, this Sport 2 trim comes optioned with massage seats. This dial specifically is genuinely the most complicated dial that I've ever used for controlling massage. It's just not intuitive in the slightest, and they definitely need to move this to a button system like the ventilated and heated seats especially considering there's literally only one setting, and that's roll. There's no other massage setting outside of roll, and even then, it's not the best. So it's more of a marketing term. Do not get caught up in the massage seat feature because it's not something that, at least personally, would sell me on this car. Now, one of the biggest deal breakers for people buying this vehicle is that the fact that this car doesn't have CarPlay or Android Auto. But I'll say personally, I've gotten really used to the fact that there's no CarPlay or Android Auto in this vehicle because honestly, you don't really need it when you have the Google Play Store. You can really download anything you want, either music or different maps, all on here. You can even install apps like HBO Max, so that way you can watch movies or TV shows while you're charging. Now, coming down from the infotainment system, we have the climate controls. Now, thankfully, all of the climate controls are all physical buttons, which means you don't have to go digging through menus to try to turn on your recycle air button. You just press the button and it's done. Which in 2025 is more of an old-fashioned way to do it, but I personally prefer the old-fashioned way because, again, you don't have to dig through countless menus to get anything you want set on climate. Now, heading down even further, we have two USB-C ports for the driver and passenger, as well as your own cubby that actually illuminates whenever you put anything inside of it. And speaking of illumination, you can actually adjust all of your ambient lighting within the infotainment system, so you can change any of the preset menus to show, let's say, blue and green, and you can see the entire dash kind of light up around it. You have lighting here, you have lighting in the footwell, and you have lighting up on the doors as well. It looks really classy, and it's not too much. Up here we have our digital mirror, which I will say has been super convenient in every single GM vehicle that I've tested so far. Now, heading into the back of the Cadillac OPTIQ, I will admit it is kind of bare bones back here, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Because with the seat in its current seating position, my legs are super comfortable. I can stretch out just as much as I want to. Although I will say, with this being a mid-size SUV, the roofline is quite short, so keep that in mind if you plan on storing any taller passengers in the back here. Now, as far as amenities back here, you don't really have too much. You have your climate controls up here, you have your heated seats, and your two USB-C ports, as well as your 110 house outlet. Overall, the backseat experience really isn't too bad. You, of course, have your cup holders in the center console down here, with a nice little armrest too. It's not too bad, but it's not the greatest I've ever been in either. So I'll personally give the OPTIQ's backseat experience a solid 7 out of 10. Nicely enough, your backseat passengers also get their own lock and unlock button as well, which is quite nice to have in the back of a car. And one final thing to say about the Cadillac OPTIQ's interior is the 19-speaker AKG Dolby Atmos sound system. Now, back in January of this year, I was actually invited by Cadillac and Dolby to test out the Cadillac OPTIQ early. That sound system demo was insane, and this realistic demo out of a press car is no different. It is genuinely one of the best sound systems that I've heard in a car to date. I'm not even kidding. Comparing it even to the 40-speaker reference AKG system in the Escalade, I genuinely prefer this system any day of the week. And so that has been the all-new 2025 Cadillac OPTIQ Sport 2. Now, would I pick this car over a brand new Tesla Model Y? Honestly, the answer isn't really that simple because there are a lot of features that both cars have that are good for a lot of different consumers. Like the Model Y has full self-driving, which is great for older people that can't really get around as much as they used to, or other features just like, auto opening trunk if your phone's close by. That's also another great feature that this car simply doesn't have. However, I think the main thing that most people are looking for a car at least, is range and looks. And well, this car nails both of those factors, at least again, over the Tesla Model Y. But what do you guys think? Would you pick this over a brand new Tesla Model Y? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys later. NTFTW signing off. See you guys.